line. So many of you have learned about line in an art class where we talk about line being a path between 2 points. It can be actually there, a real line, or it can be implied. And implied just means that, our mind completes that, one of those Gestalt theories of closure where it's filled in by the mind when there are several points positioned within a frame. And it leads the viewer's eye throughout the composition. So lines can be straight, they can be curved, they can be vertical or horizontal. They can be at a diagonal. They can be zigzag. They can be organic. There's a lot of different ways that we can utilize line. The direction and the orientation of a line really does imply feelings or emotions. And so you can trigger some of these almost subconsciously with your viewer. So we know that horizontal lines are restful. There's some tranquility with horizontal lines. Vertical lines, kind of an opposite, where we have a lot of power, we have a lot of strength. When we get oblique lines or lines at an angle, it implies movement. There's a lot of action, there's change happening. A lot of times in sports photography, in any kind of designs with athletics, you see a lot of angles in the lines. Curved lines are quiet and calm, and one of the things that we mention in the world of photography is the S-curve or the S-shaped line. Lines that converge, like if you have a fence or a roadway, it really implies depth, that there's a distance or some sort of scale within that composition. So line can be really there, it can be a real line, or it can be implied, and you need to understand some of that psychological response to the different types of line. So here are some examples of line, and as you analyze the photography here, you'll notice in this example, you see strong vertical lines in the trunks of the tree, but also you see an implied line, actually with the tops of the trees, and also a secondary implied line with the lights, the street lights, and they converge, indicating that there's some depth here. Things are at an angle, so it's not as restful as it could be. There's a little bit of action, there's a little bit of movement happening here. Another example of line. Again, this is, if we talk about balance, this actually is kind of a radial balance, a radial asymmetrical balance, but the lines are converging to a point, and here we don't have necessarily a straight. This has a little bit more organic because it's an organic element, but it's still line. So think outside the box when you're dealing with line.